What up, YouTube? This is Salsa ERC and welcome back to the lot. Hey, yo, check it right. So in this video, we're going to be talking about if you could get away with cheap shit to rear-wheel drive RC drift. Alright, so this is for people looking to get into the hobby or they new to the hobby like myself and wondering why some things cost so much more than others even though it's the same shit. Like gyros, for instance. You get a gyro for as cheap as $15 and for as much as $75 or more, possibly. Even though they all basically, you would think it would do the same thing. Or why does one car cost more than the other if they're both drift cars? Or why does this ESC cost more than that ESC? I'm gonna try to cover some of these things in this video. And if I already covered it in a different video, I'll just refer you back to that video. All right, first I'm gonna start off with the cars themselves and what I have as far as cheapest to most expensive. So the cheapest rear-wheel drive drift car I have, or drift chassis rather I have, is this D12 by WPLs. This was actually the first drift RC car I had. I got it when they first came out, so I paid like $50 for this. And then my most expensive chassis is my Red Cat RDS, which I got when they first came out, and I paid $400 for that. Alright, so I'm gonna show you the difference between a $50 chassis and a $400 chassis. So this is the D12. This is the ESC and receiver in one. Receiver in one. This is the servo, the little motor. It's like a 280 size. This is plastic. I upgraded the drive shaft to this is metal. It comes with leaf springs, these things right here, and I added these little shocks you could get on Amazon. And these wheels are Tamiya wheels, M chassis wheels and tires that you have to upgrade to because they come with a 7mm hex, so you gotta upgrade. You see that blue adapter right there? Pardon me. And this comes, you know, I showed this before with the carbon fiber chassis. You can see the size difference. This is like an M chassis size. And these bodies that they come with are hard plastic bodies. You can see it's got an interior in it already, and you can add a driver to it. They are scale and detailed. That's the one thing I like about them. I think a lot of people like that about them. You could go to YouTube and there's tons of videos of customized D12s or the minivan version, which is a D42. Only thing about these is they slow and you have to upgrade them massively. Like, people have done way more than what I've done. You can get a different size motor. I've done that, but the quality isn't that good with the aftermarket parts, so it ended up just shredding the gears in the transmission on another one I had. This one I just left alone. This one is mostly stock, except for these A-arms, the wheels and tires, the drive shaft, and the shocks. But everything else is mostly stock. They don't come with a gyro, so you gotta buy that. One good thing is, even though it's like toy grade, it is upgradable. It comes with the servos, a 3-wire servo, so you can hook a gyro up to any gyro up to one of these, and it'll work in there. The good thing is, just for fun, you could use them. It was the first one I had, so it got me hooked. They don't drift well, but it will drift. You could definitely do donuts. If you got a small space to use it in, that they're perfect for that. And then great for the kids. It's my 6-year-old drives it around now. It's hers. And like I showed you, the interior, the scale. So, like I said, a lot of people customize the shit out of these. You could just go to YouTube or Google it, and you'll see all of the nice ones. They hook them up. But this is just an example of a cheap one that will become expensive, because you're gonna have to buy all this extra stuff like I did before, because this is the second one. The first one, I'll show a picture. I had the body kit and everything, so they get expensive with the upgrades, to the point where you might have to just get a kit or a RTR, save a little more money, like a proper RTR. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this if you're a drift dad. You could let your kids play with this, or if you just want to use it in small spaces just for shits and giggles, I definitely recommend it. But just for keep in mind, you're gonna have to get a gyro immediately. They sell these drift wheels and tires specifically for them with the 7mm hex, or you could do what I did and get the adapter so you could use the M chassis wheels and tires, because they're wider and more like a regular drift tire. So with other RTRs like the RDS that I have, you don't need to upgrade immediately. You just can, upgrade as you get better as a driver, when you get ready to change your electronics or motor or whatever. I covered the different radar runs in a different video. I'll leave the link in the description, but here's the thumbnail. All right, so next we're gonna talk about electronics. What I mean by that is the servo, the gyro, the ESC. You can include the remote and that too, but I'm not gonna go over that in this video. Now with the electronics, this could be a tricky subject or a touchy subject, depending on who you ask, because of the different level of drivers. Like if you're a driveway drifter or you're a track guy, you might want a specific servo, or you might think one gyro is better than the other. Brand preferences, we'll get into that a little later, amongst other things like compatibility and shit, like you get what you pay for. But again, do your own research. Okay, next example is servos. So even though it says expensive, there are some servos that are even more expensive than the one that I be using, that I consider expensive. But no matter what brand servo you go with, I suggest you go with a programmable servo regardless. And once again, do your own research, but in my opinion, it's just better off to get a programmable servo than a cheap servo. It's 3 times the cost, but it's worth it in my opinion at any level, even if you're a driveway drifter or you go to a track. A programmable servo, you can knock gyro wobble out, all of that stuff, and you can't do that with that cheap servo that I showed you for $24. All right, next example is the gyro. And in my opinion, here's where inexpensive could be your best option. In my opinion, again, do your own research, but in my opinion, because I have both of them, the AFGRC V3 and the Yokomo V4, I don't see the difference to justify almost 2 times the price. That's just me. I don't see it though. So when I was doing my research, I came upon this video by FURADI on YouTube. Shout out to him. And it's basically a reason why I use the AFGRC brand. You heard? But like I said, do your own research. But this video convinced me. And this is the Yokomo V4. No, it's not. It's not. And then I have it paired with the AFGRC programmable servo. They work well together, but you can see, or maybe you can't, but the font on this gyro and this gyro are similar. And he talks about that in that video, so I won't go into that. So yeah, like I said, again, do your own research, but I'll leave a link in the description so you can watch FURADI's video, and he'll explain it way better than I can. All right, next I'm gonna talk about ESCs. With ESCs, you're gonna want the important features like boost and turbo, and shout out to Hobby Wing for making that more affordable with the new Quick Run 10 BL 120. The G2 though, make sure you get the G2 because it has boost and turbo. The first gen doesn't. So they're the same price too, so it might confuse you, but make sure it says V2 or G2. I think it says G2. Because if you get the first gen, you're gonna have boost and turbo. And again, this is for people who are new, and like anything else, you can upgrade to a better ESC down the line. But for me in my situation, I don't see myself upgrading anytime soon. I burnt up my expensive ESC. I had one from when I used to drag race. It cost like $150, and I fuck around and plugged the wrong wire into the negative and the positive and burnt that shit up. So I was looking to buy another one, and I came across this second generation Hobby Wing with the boosting turbo, and that one is $100 cheaper, so it was a no-brainer. you can't fine tune the boost and turbo as much as I could with the more expensive ESC, but I don't really care about that right now. When I do, I'll buy another one. Also, the ESC is censored, so it's best to you'll get the peak performance out of it with a sensor motor. And I'll show you if you don't know what that looks like. It's gonna be this black wire that runs from the ESC to the motor, and that helps you with tuning. So yeah, this is a sensor motor too, and this is the newer Gen 2 pardon me, ESC I was telling you about. And here's a picture, here's a look at my other red cat with it still has the stock motor, and as you can see, there's no that wire that goes from the motor to the ESC right there. So that's the difference between non-censored and censored. And that, like I said before, it helps with when you tune, and it's a smoother, all overall feel as far as throttle goes. And while I'm on the subject still, I might as well I'm probably gonna get a new motor for this car and then put this motor in this car. This is a 13.5 turn. I want to get a 10.5 or 8.5. I don't know yet. I'm probably not gonna get a cheap one. I'll probably spend a little money on it because this is my quote unquote expensive car. Only because the gyro costs $75 and the other gyros are $40. Other than that, it's basically the same thing as this one, except for the motor. But they both have the AFGRC programmable servo. This has the AFGRC gyro. This has the Yokomo gyro, sensor motor, non-sensor motor. Actually, this has the Gen 1 10BL120 with no boosting turbo, and this has the Gen 2. So that's the other difference. So yeah, if anybody got any other suggestions, you put them in the comments. Let me know what you think. All right, I'm up out of here.